So bulk submissions are back at PSA. This was honestly something that I wasn't really expecting. I don't know. PSA to me, it like almost see, I can't predict what they're going to do, to be completely honest. Every move that they've made has been maybe not the opposite, but it's been a lot different than I was expecting. Like did expect them to come back with some sort of bulk submission. I think at $22, like that's a pretty decent deal, to be honest. Like I think it is for the collectors club members, so that they are sort of helping out. I think people that are submitting a lot of cards. So it's not just like you can't just do a bulk submission. I think that I think the one thing with bulk submissions too is like they need to figure, they hired so many people that it's like they probably looked at it and said, well, we need to be able to use the people that we hired to grade cards. So it's like the bulk submissions, they probably looked at it and said, we can come back with these bulk submissions for the collectors club members at this price point. I think it used to be around $10 to $12 to do bulk submissions. So at $22, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. But to be honest, this is sort of what I've been, not my thesis, but what I thought about PSA for quite some time is that, like, why would they want to do more work to make less money? Because, like, why would they want to grade more cards and not make as much money off of those graded cards? That's one thing that I've looked at and said, like, I don't know, grading should be more expensive. And I know maybe that's a hot take, maybe it's not a hot take, but like overall, I think with PSA, like, sort of what you're getting when you're getting these cards graded. You're going to be getting decent value if you're trying to resell them. And I think it's the same with a lot of the grading card companies in general. Like, I know that there's a new arena club that kind of came out that's sort of a grading marketplace sort of thing that just launched with Derek Jeter, which is really cool. But like, I think the top three right now, the top three grading companies are probably going to be PSA, Beckett, sort of kind of crazy, and then SGC. I think SGC is getting into the conversation for top two because Beckett, I don't know, like they sort of haven't really done much like over the past few years to help their reputation, I guess is one way to put it. SGC has done a lot of good marketing. They've done a lot of bad marketing, but I think I guess you could call it respect. I respect that SGC is at least trying to switch things up a little bit. Beckett really just is like, we're not switching anything up, which granted, that could be a scenario where it's like, they don't need to, they don't want to, they're making the money. I don't think Beckett is a private company or I think they're private. They're not public. Like PSA is a publicly traded company now. No, they were, and now they're not anymore. But either way, I just think that, like, I think maybe Beckett, whoever owns it or whoever is sort of the, CMO or the CFO, they look at it and said, we're making this amount of money every year. Like, we are fine doing this. Like, maybe they don't have many like people way high at the top that they have to answer to. So like maybe they look at it and say, we don't need to make any changes because people are still submitting. Like you still see a lot of top RPAs that are getting graded by Beckett. So like that's probably where they're making a lot of their money. Like PSA, I think PSA makes a lot of their money on their bulk submissions and on their like base card grading. So like PSA has to sort of maneuver around what's going on with the base card market, where Beckett is sort of looking at it and they grade a lot of the RPAs. I think people do grade RPAs with PSA, but for the most part, a lot of like, National Treasures, even select RPAs. I think that there might be Prism RPAs. I'm not 100% sure, but they are grading those. So those are going to be much more high value cards in general. Obviously, the one of one Justin Herbert is going to be selling through Golden for over $1 million. This dude's only been in the league for 3 years. Like that's absolutely wild. Like almost, I don't know what the percentage is. I'd be interested to see if anyone has this type of info. Like if they have the info about how many like high RPAs are being sold and how many of them are Beckett graded. I think that would be kind of interesting to see. I don't know what that number is, and I don't even know if there's a way to really pull that number, to be honest. But like, I think Beckett probably looks at it. Beckett probably looks at it from that standpoint. I think PSA looks at it from the standpoint that they need to maneuver around the base card market a little bit differently. I don't think many people send their base cards into Beckett. I think one big piece of news that kind of came out a couple weeks ago during the National, or I guess that was almost a couple months ago now at this point, was that the 1/1 Superfractor Mike Trout switched from a Beckett slab to a PSA slab, which the grading of the 1/1s is sort of a hot button issue with everybody. I think some people will say you don't need to do it. I think it's fine either way. Like, I think if you're getting a PSA 6, that might hurt the value a little bit, but if you're getting a 7 through 9, that's not affecting what the card value would be. If you're getting a 10, that's helping the value. And this is with PSA in general. With Beckett, it's probably in that 7 to 9, to the 7 to 9 range as well, but then that 9.5. And I don't know how often they're giving out those black labels, but that's sort of how I view the grading of 1/1s in general, is that I think it's fine. I think we have seen some people do, like, I think the 1/1 triple, it was either the 1/1 triple logo man LeBron, or it was the 1/1 triple logo man Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson. That one, I forget which one it was, but one of them received an authentic, which that could have been just that they wanted to do authentic because they looked at the card. Maybe it was a little dinged up and they didn't want to risk getting a bad grade on it. But either way, PSA coming back with bulk submissions, I was a little bit surprised. I think overall, when it comes to PSA, they have so much data on grading because they were I think they're the one company that probably has the most amount of data other than the actual card companies, because of how many cards they've graded and all the price points and how many changes they made. Like, they came out like when they stopped doing grading right before 2020 Prism came out, which that was a crazy decision They raised the price, and then I think they probably said, if we don't get the backlog to a certain point, if people are still submitting at that certain price, Prism Basketball 2019, which that's kind of something I'm going to get into in the next topic, but Prism Basketball 2020, they're looking at it and saying this is the biggest basketball product of the year. We're going to get overrun with base cards. We need to raise the price. And then they shut down, and then they kept the price, I think, at $300 for whatever the turnaround was at the time. But they shut down all the submissions under $300. And I mean, now they're back with this $22 bulk submission. You know, they also have had some issues with some group breakers, or not group breakers, group subbers. And I think that probably left them a little bit hesitant. And I think at this point, you know, they probably have changed their business practices to where this $22 price point is a realistic and good price point for, you know, Collectors Club and for bulk submissions. So I don't know. I mean, you can't just get the price, to be honest. You have to go through someone who's in the Collectors Club. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's going to be definitely interesting to see sort of if people are still grading at the level that they were. That I can't imagine they are, because of where the market has gone and how everything is. A lot of stuff has changed, but I think people, you know, there is going to be, I think, an influx of cards that are going to be graded because of this $22 bulk submission through the Collectors Club.